Moving on to look at building communities, I think this kind of links into this purpose-led, narrative-based theme that we've discussed. What does a community mean to you?
Um, for me, I think a community to me means um, a group of a group of people that can gather around a common uh, cause or mission or activity and feel like they belong. Um, and I think to me, at its sort of simplest cut, um, it's that sense of sharing something in common.
What do you think attracted so many people to the Airbnb narrative of belonging?
I think at it, I think at its core, I think everyone wants to feel like they belong, um, and it's interesting. I caught a small section of Michelle Obama's documentary "Belonging" recently, and it was interesting to juxtapose some of the things we heard her saying relative to much of what the founders talked about in terms of how Airbnb was established. And I think it's interesting that when the first three guests stayed with Brian and Joe in their apartment in San Francisco, over 10 years ago, that was um, the thing that comes out of that. And even though they were air mattresses on a floor in an apartment, and they were thousands of miles away from where um, they lived or where they were from, um, they'd made a human connection, and they felt like they belonged. And I think that's a really key part of it.
What are the core pillars of belonging in a community, or the essence of a community, in your opinion?
Um, so, do you mean the Airbnb community, or do you mean sort of community more
Well, yeah,
generally
I mean,
speaking?
said another way, when you always hear people say managing the community, right?
Yeah.
And obviously communities are very fluffy and broad, subjective and intangible word. What did you focus on within the community?
So I think, and reflecting on sort of some of the communities um, that I've been a part of, both from a, a genuine community perspective as opposed to a business or a marketplace sort of point of view. I think it is generally what is that common thread that people can attach themselves to, and I think that um, different things will mean different um, will have different meaning to different people. And if there's that one common thread that they can attach themselves to, and at Airbnb of that's belonging, I think that has um, what makes people belong will be different to different people. And I think that the diversity that you have in the Airbnb community um, is one of those things I think that will continue to have Airbnb stand in really good stead relative to um, the experiences that people have had when they've been living like a local. And I think they'll continue to look for that.
Hmm.